What if I told you there's only one secret you have to understand in order to create better melody? So in this video, I will show you the one secret. If you don't know me, I'm Game from BusyWorksBeats.com. I need you guys to smash that like button to extend that S in the oxygen in my lungs. And we trained over 1 million producers around the world. Some have gone to work with Drake, Kanye West, Post Malone, Ariana Grande, French Montana, Young Thug, Polo G, Trippie Redd, J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, Glorilla. Some have won Grammys, some platinum plaques. I'm literally going to simplify all of my training. I have hundreds of hours of training at busyworksbeats.com/premium. That's where I train people to go from beginners to pro. And after the hundreds of hours of training, I've simplified melodies into one secret. And here's the one secret. Melody is really just a broken down chord. And before I teach you guys the science, I want to quickly just demonstrate this. So for example, I can do what's called the, Jeff Schneider thought of it this way, which is to raise the third, but call it the 10th. Okay, so instead of playing a minor ninth this way, we'll play with the raised third up top, called the 10th, he calls it. Now we have a melodic sound. Now, what am I actually playing underneath? I'm playing a chord. So when you truly understand what I'm about to tell you, this will unlock everything about music theory that is hidden. So understand it this way. If we're really splitting up a chord, for example, this is a minor ninth chord. I could teach you guys how to create chords from scratch. I teach a unique approach to music theory that I discovered by accident called chord codes. It's based on integer notation. So I can close my eyes, quite literally, pick any note, all right, and I can build what's called a minor ninth chord or any chord I want using our chord code chart that you can get for free at busyworksbeats.com/music theory. So we'll actually go to busyworksbeats.com/Omnisphere because you get more gifts. Okay, so here's the 0 point, the point of rest, because there's no relative distance. The chord code for a minor ninth chord is 0, 3, 7, 10, 14. You don't need to memorize this. Once you have the chord code chart, it will all make sense. So where you start is 0. And as long as you can count up your keyboard, you don't need to know anything about theory. So here's the 0 point. Let's count up our keyboard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Play all these notes together. You've now created the minor ninth chord just like that. Now, if you want to create a melodic approach to this chord, what we could do is what's called raise the third. So the second note of this chord, we can pull this up an octave and play it that way. And now we have a melody just like that. So when you understand that melody is truly just broken apart chords, even chord progressions are broken apart chords. And I can show you guys what I mean here. So for example, if I wanted to create, let's just do the white keys in this case. So we're playing F, A, C, E, G. If you guys want to find these sounds, these are at busyworksbeats.com/black. I'm playing from sounds in our plugin called Halo 3D. Let's just swap out to a keyboard sound. We need like a soft sound here. Okay, so here's a softer sound. All right, so we're gonna play F, A, C, E, G. And then we can also go to C major, which is the 5th of F. You don't need to memorize that. Now I can either play these two chords straight out. So let's record this and I'll show you guys what I mean. So I can play those chords just straight out as we just did. So it looks like we're missing some notes here. Okay, a little glitch in FL Studio. All right, so here are the notes. And like I said, we could play F major, we could play C major. This could be our chord progression, just 2 chords. But what we do in modern music is we split these big chords up. So anytime we have a chord that's 5 notes or more, we tend to, or 4 notes or more technically, we can split these up into 2 different chord types. And if you're more on the esoteric advanced language, let me just break it up for you guys here. So for example, the beginning of the F major ninth chord is a major triad. But what if we start from the third in this case? This is actually a minor chord. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 always creates a minor. So when you get into 7th chords, extensions in the 7ths and more, you're actually combining 2 chord types. Okay. So what we can do is split these chord types to create a chord progression. So when you truly understand this concept, you'll understand everything derives from one big chord. So when you skip chords, you're skipping melody and you're skipping also chord progressions and how to move energy in your track. For example, we could split this chord up. Let's look at this chord and ask, what is this chord? F major ninth is actually 3 different chords. You have F major triad, you have A minor triad, and you have the C major triad. These are 3 different chords we could choose from. So for example, if we wanted to start on F. All right, now let's slice that so that we start on F. Now the next chord we can create, let's go to A, for example. Okay, A, C, E. So all we're doing is we're just omitting the notes of the chords. Now we could play the full extension, but we're just going to play simple triads for now, and then I'll get to how this leads to melody. So we're going from the root triad, and now we're creating a chord from the third, just going through the chord extension. So really we're playing F major 7th, just split apart into 2 different chords here. And we could do the same exact thing here for C major. It's C, E, G, which is C major, E, G, B, which is E minor, and G, B, D, which is G major. It's 3 chords combined into 1 bigger chord. So we have a lot of sub things inside of these big chords. Like, for example, I just ran up the stairs, that's why I'm out of breath. Like, for example, we could treat this chord like it's a scale. We could treat it like a chord progression. We could treat it like one big chord. We could treat it like a melody, depending on how we voice this. So again, we have different options, 3 main options here: C major, E minor, or G major. So let's go C major, for example, and actually let's end on C. So let's do F, A, let's do G major, and then let's land on F, or excuse me, on C. So essentially we're going from the root note to the tonic, or excuse me, I said this, the root note to the perfect 5th, okay? And then this wants to resolve back to the tonic. So it's always this, this relationship between the tonic and the dominant that you will find over and over in music. And when you truly understand this concept, you could basically break this down into mostly anything. So for example, if I played F minor ninth and the dominant, I can create a lot of movement using those 2 polarities of the chords. So I'm showing you guys a very basic level so you can follow along, but this goes very deep into music theory. So the question is, what can we understand and make from this understanding? Everything derives from chords. Until you understand this concept, you will constantly fight yourself about melody. You will constantly be asking which scale you need to be in. It's all based around harmony. Harmony is the foundation of everything else that comes out of music. Okay, so let's do an exercise here. Let's build a new chord I've never created before. And again, you want to create from chord extensions like 7th, 9th, or 11th chords. In this case, we're going to stick with the 9th chords. If you don't know how to build a 9th chord, again, I show you guys at busyworksbeats.com/music theory. You can get a chord code chart for free. If you want to delve deep into the science, go to busyworksbeats.com/premium. So for example, what we're going to do next is build a chord. I'm going to close my eyes and pick a key just to show you guys how random this could be. So I think I landed on G. You don't even need to know what the note G is. All we're going to do is copy this note up and follow a chord code. So the chord code here is 0, 3, 7, 10, 14. That creates the minor ninth chord code. So 0 is where you start. Count up 3 notes. In this case, hit shift up 1, 2, 3. Okay. And then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Play all these together. You get a G minor ninth chord no matter where you are on the keyboard. Let's pull this down an octave. Now the question is, how do we make this melodic? We want to do more than just make chords. So I'm going to show you guys a secret of music theory real quick, and I have to explain it through sound design. As you guys can probably tell by now, I go really deep into the science of music production. A lot of people on YouTube give you information, they don't explain why, and you're always left clueless memorizing steps. What I'm showing you is I'm giving you the science so that you can build from it yourself and you don't have to memorize anything. So let's go here and edit this wavetable. So sounds are made up of what are called partials. So for example, what separates a sine wave from a sawtooth from a square wave? It's just the amount of harmonics we have in a sound. So everything is built off of what's called a sine wave. Okay, now if I add the second harmonic, we get a slightly different tone. If I add the third harmonic, we get this tone. If I get the fourth harmonic, so each one of these harmonics is actually an interval of the fundamental. This sounds more convoluted than what it is, but basically each one of these vertical columns plays a different note on the keyboard. Think of it that way. So if I play the second harmonic, I think that's the octave, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't memorize the intervals here. I think the third harmonic is the perfect 5th. Yeah, that's a perfect fifth. And we have the, what is it, third harmonic. So notice these all create different note values. So we're literally adding new notes to the note. So we're playing more than one note every time we play a note, depending on the shape and the harmonics. So if you add multiple of these, you get a sawtooth type sound. But we're actually playing multiple notes combined. So the reason I'm showing you guys that is because in the natural, this is called the harmonic series of sound, and the natural structural, how the universe is built, structure of harmonics, the third is actually raised higher. So I know this sounds convoluted, but remember I was going through the harmonics and I said, this is probably the octave, that's probably the fifth, this is probably the, you know, whatever. Those are intervals, and that's a natural spacing of how we voice chords, okay? So in short, what I'm saying is, in nature, the third is actually raised up in the chord, just to give you guys the bullet answer. And what that means is if we start playing the third raised like this, we get a more natural tendency to melody, okay? So all I have to do is raise that third. Now we can still play with the third down here. We don't have to just omit that, but understanding that this third raised is a melodic type of tone. How do we use this though? Okay, so now we have the notes. Consider this your own scale. Like I said before, what builds a scale is actually two chords. So consider a chord the thing that builds a scale. Okay, so why not build your own scale from your own chord? And when you think of it like this, it becomes so much more easy to understand. So let's add the major third raised up. Simply just going down this chord creates a melodic sound. We can reinforce it with the root note and the third in the bass. And now we get that type of tone. Now let's say I wanted to create movement and not just play the same thing over and over and over again. What we can do is just copy this. So let's take this and let's pull this up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 just to see. So now we have some movement here. So hopefully you're starting to notice melody it's not just a random thing. There's a structure to it before you put the notes together. So again, you can find this plugin at busyworksbeats.com/black in our black box bundle. It's called Halo 3D. And I just showed you guys a cookie cutter way to go about melody, just simply by using a minor ninth chord, spreading it apart, raising that third, and playing it going down. I showed you a formulaic approach to where you don't even need to hear what the sound actually sounds like to know that it works. Now, if you want to get fancy, we can add a D dominant chord in here. Now, we're getting really advanced here, so don't try to memorize this. So here I'm going to have to actually map this out myself. So there's a chord code for every chord type. And here we're going to build what's called a dominant ninth chord, but technically this is an altered chord I'm about to show you, but it derives from a dominant ninth chord. So with all that theory terms being said, here's the root note. We're going to count up, we're going to create a major triad. So 0, 4, 7, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7. And then we're going to have a minor seventh on top of the major triad. So it's 8, 9, 10. Usually a major seventh is 0, 4, 7, 11. In this case, we're playing a minor seventh, which is 0, 3, 7, 10. Long story short, we're playing a minor seventh, okay, over top of a major triad. And as I showed you guys earlier in the video, when you get into seventh chords and above, you're really combining two different chords. So really, this is two chords. This is D major, and we have F sharp diminished. These are two chords combined, okay? And we're just going to count from the perfect fifth and count up 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's the short answer of how you get to the ninth every single time. Okay, with all that being said, my approach to music theory is very easy because I base it on number, and number never changes. Okay, so what we're going to do here, though, is take the perfect fifth and the ninth. And these are tonal twins because they're a perfect fifth away, 7 semitones away. So I call these tonal twins. They tend to move in the same direction. We're going to raise these up a half step, meaning one note. So this should, in theory, sound pretty dope. And I've never written in this key yet, so I don't even know what it sounds like. Now we have that nice tension to the sound. Just like that, we have a vibe. So when people tell me chords are irrelevant and music theory is irrelevant, they don't understand that melody comes from the structure underneath called harmony. Okay, so I want to thank you guys for watching this video. I know it's a lot to take in. It probably sounds like I said nothing to a beginner, but to the advanced people, they're like, oh, that's what everything is. So the shortcut answer to all of this, again, guys, is that everything is a chord. Every single thing. Melody is a chord. Scales are actually chords put together. What else did we say here? Chord progressions are actually split apart big chord extensions. So everything comes from the chord. And when you understand the chord, you can go into everything. I have a course about this called Music Theory Essentials. Go to busyworksbeats.com/premium. You'll find it in the premium lifetime access. Thank you guys for watching. It's Game from busyworksbeats.com. Peace out, guys.